What's going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. And I guess I kind of need to explain why there's a brand new car sitting behind me that I kind of accidentally ordered but didn't really order. As you guys just recently saw, we took the Mini kind of around. We went to CarMax. We tried to go to the dealership and see what trade-in value was on that thing. Because I and the wife had kind of been talking about possibly four-door vehicle, and she's been in a four-door vehicle for, you know, many years. She bought the Mini because it was a two-door electric. That's the only way the electric versions come. And, you know, again, it was a little bit of a learning curve with the car, you know, learning the kind of goofy shifter, etc. But she has ended up falling in love with that thing. But again, the kind of big issue is the fact it is a two-door. Getting stuff out of the back, or getting people or kids or whatever in and out of the back seat is obviously kind of a massive pain. If they're entering through the passenger side, you've got the seat tipped forward, and if you leave it tipped forward, then it's sliding around. It just is inconvenient. Obviously, I'm not faulting the vehicle. It's a two-door car, and you're complaining about backseat accessibility. I totally understand. So about a month ago, I called my sales manager out at the Chevy dealership that I bought 3 previous Camaros from. I don't even think you guys know about the previous 2 Camaros, but you guys know about the Z01 1LE. I called up the sales manager and said, hey, if I were to order this 2023 Chevy Bolt in the redline package, of course in Summit White, because all my cars have to be white, of course, with this trim, this option, and nothing else, what would my pricing be? He told me over the phone, okay, it would be X amount of dollars, because if you guys didn't know, these things are pretty darn cheap. We'll do a quick walk around, but this is a heated seat, leather, heated steering wheel. It's a very nicely equipped vehicle, and it's only like $31,000. Pretty insane for a modern brand new vehicle to be priced that cheaply. So that's kind of where the conversation was left. I told him I'll talk to the wife. You know, we'll go from there. We'll see, you know, if she truly does want to get rid of the Mini or not. And I made no more contact. That was the last time I talked to him. Yesterday or Friday at work, a salesman came walking in to the shop and said, hey, Tyler, the vehicle you ordered's here. And I looked at him very strangely and said, what are you talking about? And he said, well, the Chevy Bolt EUV that you called and priced, we just went ahead and ordered it for you so you could look at it. So, you know, my heart kind of sank for a second there, going, I really hope there wasn't a miscommunication. You know, I never gave them a green light to order, but they had an open allocation and they didn't have any sitting on the lot. So they just went ahead and ordered the thing in my spec, how I wanted it ordered, and here we are. So again, it was Friday, end of the day. I said, hey, do you care if I just take the thing home over the weekend, let her drive it, let her see what she thinks about it, and so it sits. So no, we have not made any decisions. The Mini is still in our possession, but yeah, it was a very interesting Christmas weekend, driving or calling her up and saying, hey, your new car's here. Do you want to come by and look at it? And again, her being just as confused as I was. So yeah, like I said, let's walk around this thing. Let's look at it. Let's go out and drive it and see kind of what our thoughts are. Is it worth giving up the Mini for? So guys, like I said, 2023 Chevy Bolt EUV. Now this is basically the same thing as the car Bolt, but this is the EUV. So this is a slightly taller, slightly longer, a little more back seat room, a teeny bit more cargo room, but I believe the chassis is the same thing as the normal car Bolt. You've got no frunk here. This is, you know, still a price point electric vehicle. And if you guys obviously didn't know, the Bolt is a all electric vehicle. This one, how it is equipped, or how the Bolt EUV is, has about 247 rated EPA miles to a full charge. Obviously, as you guys know from the cold weather or hot weather or hard driving, electric vehicles obviously can vary greatly. But yeah, no, it is, like I said, how I ordered it, a red line, so we get the black wheels, the black mirrors. You just get a lot of the black trim that would normally be chrome on the things. Now quickly jumping inside, again, don't mind the mess. It is nasty. It is like 27 degrees out here in Wichita right now, and we've got snow, salt, all kinds of nasty stuff on the ground that you wouldn't want to be driving a brand new vehicle in. But again, we've got to try this thing out. Even with the price point of $31,900, you've got leather or potentially synthetic leather, I don't know. To my untrained eye, those are leather, heated ventilated seats. You've got power driver seat, heated steering wheel. I mean, again, it is a price point vehicle, but it's very nice. You've got soft touch here on the door. The upper doors are plastic. The lowers are plastic, but kind of where it counts, it is soft touch. Jumping in this thing, it is honestly a really nice place to be. We've got, again, soft touch, kind of faux leather dash up here, faux stitching here. I mean, it is a nice package for $31,000. I don't know of many other vehicles at this price point, let alone electric vehicles at this price point. You know, decent sized little small cubby style glove box. We've got cup holders. We do have a little bit weird shifters here where we've got a push button for park. We've got a pull up for reverse, a neutral button, pull up for drive, and then our one pedal driving option that you can turn on and off. Another kind of cool thing here that the Mini is missing is the wireless charging pad here, just behind our sport button, traction control, and lane keep assist. And yeah, guys, this thing, even again, $31,900, lane keep assist, blind spot monitor, cross path detection. Again, I know a lot of these things are becoming pretty standard in vehicles, but goodness gracious, $32,000 with this stuff equipped on a vehicle that is appointed this nicely. I don't know. It seems like a very good value. Let's see, jumping into the back seat here, and this is very, very surprising to me. Jumping back here, sitting down, I am 6'3". If I do sit up, I guess my head is honestly touching the ceiling. So, you know, if you are 6 foot plus, you are gonna have a little bit of issue. So if I, like I said, sit up all the way, here is my rear seat headroom. Again, this would not be ideal. You couldn't go very far like this, but if I were to slouch down just a little bit, and I understand that's bad for my posture, but again, if I slouch down a little bit, you know, slide my butt forward in the seat, I all of a sudden have perfectly fine headroom. And even with slouching, I don't know if you guys can see, that front seat is where it would be for a 6'3" driver. I have a lot of leg room, like kind of a crazy amount. I'm really, really surprised with this back seat leg room, even again with that seat where I would be driving. Back here, you're not terribly, you know, we do again have the soft touch on that middle door, plastic door panels. Otherwise, we do have a little mini center console or armrest with a couple of cup holders in it. USB Type-C, USB Type-A here, even in the back on this price point vehicle. We do have a couple of headrests that we can fold up and down depending on, you know, if somebody's riding in the back or if you wanted those down so you could help that kind of squinty rear window visibility. Now, last but not least, we will jump into the back seat or the back cargo room area. And again, you guys got a little shadow going on here, but you do have a decent amount of cargo room. If you even are to open this hatch, again, the charger is currently stored back here, but you've got a really, really deep cargo area. So if you wanted to pull that load floor out, you would have a massive, massive area. And again, those back seats would fold down so you could have a large load floor. But guys, I honestly think the thing is a pretty good looking vehicle. I wasn't a huge fan of the normal Bolt, but something about the EUV, the slightly more, you know, longer, taller, pudgier, whatever you want to call it, definitely, you know, is more appealing, again, at least to myself. To me, this is a very 6th gen Camaro kind of mouth here. You got the big lower grille, you've got some squinty headlights. To me, that looks very, very similar at a quick glance to the 6th gen sitting in the garage. So yeah, it's the only thing that kind of kills me on the redline package. Again, I know the name is redline, but the painted red stripes on the wheels. This, I believe, is just a vinyl sticker. You could peel that thing off if you didn't love it, but the wheels, those are painted on. So you're kind of stuck with those unless you want to get creative with some vinyl. So guys, let's go out and drive this thing, get our initial impressions, how it feels, how it sounds, and we'll figure out what the heck we're doing. All right guys, so taking off in the Bolt here, I am very appreciative of the heated seats and heated steering wheel. Like I said, it is like 27 degrees here in Wichita. I had the Milwaukee jacket on high out there when we were talking outside, but again, heated seats, heated steering wheel, kind of, again, I understand normal, pretty common things on vehicles, but again, a $31,000 price point, that is that is pretty cheap, you've got to admit, in a modern day vehicle. This is just the LT trim. This is not the Premier. And I specifically didn't want that because I did not want a dual pane sunroof. She's not a sunroof girl. I don't love sunroofs because of being a mechanic and having to work on them. No, I'm not a Chevy mechanic. I'm sure these are fine. They probably don't have issues, but I've had to work on sunroofs and dual pane sunroofs in the past, and I don't want any part of owning that in my own vehicle. So what are our, again, initial driving impressions here? It's very quiet, it's very smooth. Again, the Mini's a lower vehicle, smaller wheels and tires, so obviously it's going to be more affected with the road surface. The steering feels nice and tight, not overly assisted. Honestly, if anything, it feels, you know, it has good weight to it, which is always what you want. You don't want a super light, darty steering wheel. But no, it feels good. This does have the one pedal driving that, again, you can turn on and off here. And if you guys don't know what one pedal driving is, that is basically allowing you to only use the throttle pedal. As you're driving, obviously you're hitting the throttle pedal, but when you let off that throttle pedal, it basically feels like you are applying brakes. I'm off and I am decelerating rather quickly because it's using the regenerative braking of that electric motor to slow the vehicle down and gain power back into that battery pack. So cool thing with an electric vehicle. And another thing, it saves brakes. Electric vehicles, depending what state you live in, you are rarely going to be replacing brakes like you would be with its gasoline counterpart because of that regenerative braking. Yes, if you're in a rust belt state, your brakes are still going to get rusty and torn up, but if you're in a normal state, again, those brakes are going to last a very, very long time. Okay, so we are on a Mexico road here, and we are going to accelerate hard on this thing. We're going to come to a complete stop, not sport mode, just normal mode, and let's put the power down. And we had a little wheel slip before traction control came on, but you know, and don't get me wrong, we're doing 60, we are doing 70, so we are moving rapidly or quickly, but the issue is it does not feel as peppy or as quick as her Mini. And not that the Mini is some crazy, outrageous electric, you know, Tesla killer, but this thing, you do feel its weight considerably more. It just feels heavier. It is not moving at as quick of a pace. The little bit of time that she drove it yesterday, that was her takeaway. She says it's not as fun to drive as my Mini. You know, I love the fact it has a back seat, but it's not as fun to drive as my Mini. I love being able to, at a stoplight, blast on the throttle and rip up in front of people, merging, be able to merge. She said, I've never had a fast car. I have a fast car now. Getting into a car that, at least on paper, is about a second slower 0 to 60. The Mini is roughly 6 seconds. This is roughly 7 seconds 0 to 60. Obviously, there is a sport mode, but it really doesn't feel that much peppier. It, I'm sure, changes the throttle mapping just a little bit, but again, it doesn't feel too much rowdier in that sport mode. So I don't know, that's kind of where we're at right now. She's loves the Mini. She's fallen in love with the Mini, and you know, it's going to be hard to decide for her, because again, ultimately it's her deal whether she wants to jump out of that Mini, get back into four-door life, a little more practical of a vehicle with the cargo area, with the back seat, more interior room. And another thing that I guess I haven't even talked about, again, is that range issue. That Mini, again, is 114 miles is the EPA rated range. And you know that buying the vehicle, we aren't trying to badmouth the Mini, and it works great in town. There has been a few times where we've wanted to take it on a little bit longer of a drive, and I've looked on Google and looked at the miles and went, oof, this is going to be kind of close. Maybe we shouldn't, because if we have to go somewhere else and we don't have a charger, you know, it could get a little tight. The fact that this thing on a full charge in summer or warmer weather is going to be roughly 247 miles gives you a lot more breathing room. And that's kind of another thing we've got to weigh in is, again, you're going to have more mileage or more miles effective range. You've got the back seat, you've got the cargo room. I don't know. It's going to be a tough decision. I love the Mini. I love autocrossing the Mini. The Mini is a absolute blast to drive. I understand people badmouth, you know, electric vehicles, but that Mini is really fun. And again, for the price point, how can you beat that thing? Unless you're looking for a four-door, then at the same price point, this thing is a really good value. So guys, I totally understand this is not a car review channel, but I still like bringing you guys along as I'm, you know, going through my car journey here. We are a automotive channel, and I'll keep bringing you guys along. Even if I accidentally kind of order a car, I'll bring you guys along. I have no clue what's going to be in the driveway or in the garage for her, you know, in, you know, next month. If it's going to be the Mini, if it's going to be this thing, but it is a nice thing. All the creature comforts, more miles, more range, I guess I should say, more doors. Again, I totally understand this is not as sporty or as cool of an electric car as that Mini is. I definitely understand that, but I don't know. It is an interesting vehicle at its price point. That is absolutely, without a doubt, a you know, a for sure thing there. So yeah, it's a car, it's electric, and it's a pretty nice place to be, and it's a pretty nice thing to drive. I guess my only big gripe here is the regenerative braking paddle here on the steering wheel. Now, yes, the car automatically does regenerative braking, but you have this weird paddle up on the steering wheel which adds even more. You can't turn it on, you can't turn it off. It's just here on the paddle. I let off the throttle and we slow down. I can grab that pedal and feel it decelerate even harder. I guess I would like that to be a on-off switch or a max regenerative braking mode that I could just turn on and leave on. I wouldn't want to have to, every time I'm slowing down, grab this paddle on my steering wheel to have max regen. That to me makes absolutely no sense. Maybe if any of you Bolt or Bolt EUV owners happen to be watching, you can say, hey dummy, in the menu, in settings, in driver or something, you can go in and turn on this max regenerative braking and leave it on, because I really dislike the fact that I would need to be grabbing or want to be grabbing this paddle every single time I'm slowing down to get, again, the max regenerative braking to gain any of the power that I could be getting back into the battery. So that's kind of my only big gripe with this thing. Again, there's not any battery options. There's not a long range, a short range. This is only front wheel drive. You can't get them in rear wheel drive. You can't get them in all wheel drive. I assume in the future they would also offer that, but again, being a price point electric vehicle, they've probably just got it set up for front wheel drive, and that's where it's gonna be. So guys, I don't know. Let me know down in the comments, what would you do if you had to get people or stuff in and out of the back of your two-door Mini and you were getting tired of that? What would you do? Would you keep a fun, sporty electric Mini, or would you get a slightly more utilitarian Chevy Bolt EUV. Obviously very different vehicles, different purposes, but at the end of the day, they're both point A to point B vehicles. You're going to get where you want to go or need to go. You're just gonna have a little more range in this one, and honestly, a slightly more comfier place to be, or at least a few more creature comforts, I guess. You've got more screens, and of course screens mean the vehicle's cooler, right? I mean, you've got to have screens and everything now. So no, Chevy's infotainment, again, is very, very nice. Chevy and Dodge are probably the top of the game right now on infotainment. It's just a not clunky system, I guess, if you will. It seems like most of the other vehicles I get into, that user interface or the fake iDrive thing that everybody's copying is just a absolute pain to use. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe everybody else knows how to use it and I'm just complaining, but man, Chevy and Dodge user interface on infotainment changed my mind that it's the best in the game. I'm sure others will get their act together as time goes on, but very, very user-friendly, considerably more user-friendly than the iDrive BMW-based Mini. So guys, I guess the wife has some decisions to make on what she's doing with her car. Is she keeping the Mini? Is she getting a Chevy? I really don't know, guys. I'm very torn myself. I absolutely love the Mini. It's fun to drive. You can autocross it. This I'm not going to be autocrossing, and this honestly is less fun to drive, but it's more practical. I don't know, guys. So let me know, again, down in the comments, what would you do if you were stuck between these two vehicles on the lot? Which one would you buy? Which one would you live with? Which, I don't know. Let me know down in the comments, guys. And guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.